Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Gal.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Nick is out and about, so he's not going to be here today. And Spence is still in Alaska. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. And happy Easter and happy Passover and anything else that you can think of that you should be happy at.
Yes, Chag Sameach, everyone.
Chag Sameach. Yep. So, we were going through something last night. Let's see if somebody in the audience maybe knows about how to move the stuff from one server. You want to talk about it?
I mean, I know how to do it.
I
just
know.
not
I know, but
yet. Yeah. So I don't remember if I talked about it on the air or just to you last week, but Google Workspaces is no longer giving free accounts. So, and I've been using them since the beginning. Google Workspaces was at the beginning Google for Applications, I think they called it, or Google for Organizations or something like that. And the idea is if you had a domain, you pointed the domain at Google, and are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, for a minute the image was frozen.
No,
and so Google for and Google will provide all of its application suites, including Gmail, Docs, Sheets, and all of their Office offering. And at the beginning, they had a free offering which included 50 accounts, free. Back then, it was, I think, 3 gigabytes per account. Today we're at 50. And I mean, that's all I needed. I just wanted mail. I wanted reliable mail. I wasn't paranoid then at all. And there was this option of being able to send, right, by my domain and not be relying on Google's identity, which is great.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Still, I was still using probably the best email suite out there, but with my own domain. So, and I liked the idea of webmail. Webmail is very freeing. I haven't used Thunderbird or Outlook for my personal mail since then. January, during the years, they dropped the offering of free. So anyone who wanted to create a new account could not do could not create a free account anymore. So the only option for Google Workspaces, that's the latest name of this, was a paid account.
Now, this is
fine as long
let-
as and they said legacy account, they stay as is.
yeah, but
Okay?
let's just make something clear. This is not, if you have a Gmail account, your
No, this is
personal,
not
that's got nothing to do with that.
No, that has nothing to do with
Right.
it. Now, during the years, Google for Workspaces accounts have been second-rate citizens in the Google ecosystem. Okay, so after I moved to it, at the beginning it was fun because it was pretty much the same, but then there were a lot of limitations. Android came out. When Android came out, stuff started breaking. They started selling storage, right? This is way before they sold storage. Think about it.
Mhm.
They started selling storage, and buying storage with these accounts was a problem. Now, today I have some value associated with these accounts, as in I have some storage purchase there that I haven't dropped yet. This is going to allow me to drop it finally, because I was always planning of one day moving off of Google, uh, hopefully to my own mails hosting, which probably eventually will be the case, but right now we're doing it differently. And I got some. I'm in a situation right now where in January Google sent a notification to everyone with the free accounts. The free accounts come May or the end of May are going to start being charged. The only way for those accounts to continue to operate would be paying the monthly fee. Something around, I think the lowest I can pay is around $5 per account per month. And it's way higher for me for free email, right? I don't need that. I don't need this $60 per account per year
Right.
expense.
There's better things you can do with that money.
Exactly. There are different things I can do with those $60. So I was shopping around looking for solutions, and it's definitely time for me to host my own email. I'm confident enough in the services and the servers that I run that they can function as such, but there's a few limitations. I don't run any VPS. I don't run anything in the cloud that is outside of my ISP, my local ISP. And the ISP that I use, Google Fiber, they give me a random IP, and I don't want to pay for a static IP. I don't really need that. Not for not for what it brings, right? So I was looking at hosting solutions and trying to figure out, okay, maybe I can host everything that I want, the storage and all that, at home, and use a third-party service, either a free mail service or something else that's not free. We'll see. I'm not sure. And use that just for the sending and receiving. The sending itself is less of an issue, but it has the caveat of identity because of spam and security. There's a whole slew of architectural choices of identifying mail servers. It's actually a controversy. Mail was supposed to be this free service that was regardless of identification. So it needed to be something completely different, let's say, from the phone system. But then spam came over, right? So when spam started, then all of the trusting between organizations and between mail servers started. And there is this certain scheme that works. But I am now, but I don't have time. So I'm not sure I'll get to that point where I run my own mail server. I got 3 mailboxes on a service that I really, really, really trust. By the way, Delta Force now sells large mailboxes if you're interested. And created the 3 mailboxes that I need. They're going to cost me as a whole a lot less than what Google is charging me right now, which is nice. And I am going to pull all of the email from Gmail to those accounts. The way I'm going to do it is using Imap. I can connect via Imap to Gmail, which basically exposes the entire mailbox as a sort of a folder of emails structure, and this will allow me to copy everything. There is a certain problem in Gmail. Gmail allows me to tag emails into multiple labels. And those labels are then translated to folders in Imap. So if I just do an Imap to Imap copy, I am going to basically have a duplicate of a lot of stuff. So I need to figure out what to copy. Yeah, that's what I'm facing right now. Other option. I'll do a backup of the Gmail. Like I can do the data takeaway. I'll do that and just start from scratch on the new service, right? That's another option, which isn't a bad option. Just there's a lot in the email that I know I will need to search from time to time, records of past. So
that's the best way to learn.
Yep.
Now, you said something before, and I was gonna interrupt. You said you can connect to Gmail through Imap, which exposes and you didn't finish. Did I hear you right?
All of my mailbox.
To who?
Right, my mailbox is in Google is there's the inbox.
No. You said it exposes it to who?
To my account.
Okay. So all right. Okay.
It's an account. Yeah.
Yeah.
It exposes it via Imap. That's the thing.
Yeah. Exposing it sounds a negative thing. That's not what you. Yeah.
It's like an API provides an API.
Yeah. All right.
But in this case, it's the API is Imap. Yeah.
All right, but with your high speed, it should not take really.
I'm not worried about the speed so much. It's just the details. It's I just want to make sure that if I'm doing the copy, I'm not missing anything, and if it breaks in the middle, then I can continue. That's what I'm looking. I'm looking for a solution that will allow me, to resume. And I need to figure out what to do with the duplication, because there is going to be duplication if I'm using Imap. So another option is not to use Imap.
Wait. What duplication?
So Gmail, as I said, uses label, not folders.
Okay.
It exposes via Imap folders. So if I have an email with 2 labels, that same email is going to be downloaded twice via Imap.
Oh.
Because it's going to find it in folder A, and it's also going to find it in folder B. So I'll either go and clean up the labels that I definitely don't need, right, to be copied, or but I'll still get some duplication between things that have multiple labels, or I do a POP3 import. I can enable POP3 on Gmail, say start from the beginning, and anything I download, delete. But I'm going to lose the labels. So it doesn't really matter, right? I'm going to lose the labels, or I'm going to lose some of the labels.
Okay. I'm wondering. I mean, is it each and every message is going to be duplicated?
No. only messages that have a label associated with them.
Okay.
I use labels in a very similar way to folders, but I also use multiple labels because it's convenient. But now it's not convenient to me because I'm moving to a system that doesn't have that paradigm. So I'm figure this out. Gmail are the only ones who are doing labels, or maybe they're not the only one, but via Imap, the interface is available. They do not know labels, so I need to figure out how to fix this.
Okay, because I know that when people do use, I don't use Imap myself. I use Pop. But I know that looking at some folders where people, unbeknown to them, because Outlook and other programs default to Imap these days, and they set it up, and suddenly it's Imap. There are oodles and oodles of folders, and normal folders in an email folder on the server has 3 mailboxes. There's new, current, and temp. These are the 3. Then, if it's an IMAP, it creates all kind of dot slash whatever your folder that you're calling it, or whatever IMAP is calling it. It creates it. I mean, some of these I see 50 different folders that were created. I don't know what that is. I mean, I never really looked into it, but it looks like it's when somebody is trying to sort their mail the right way, like doctor emails and specials from this store and special. Each one is in its own folder when they are downloading it from somewhere, or when they're connecting.
Right.
So I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll talk about that. So now, what do you think could be? I would say downloading it, not Pop, but the IMAP way, and retaining those labels is probably. But is it actually downloading it, or is it still just IMAP that it's looking at the server? Are you actually going to have a hard copy of everything on your computer when you do that?
It really depends on what I'm going to do.
Okay. Right.
IMAP allows you to completely download, so I can have a complete local sync.
Okay.
20 gigabytes if needed, right?
Yeah.
Of local sync of the Gmail account. And then I can copy it over to another connection of IMAP, right, to the new mailbox. So that can definitely be one option.
I mean, the safest way is if it's a sync and it's 2 hard copies, one on your machine and one on Gmail, I would go with that. Because
of course. I'm still going to retain a complete copy of everything using Google Takeout. Google Takeout is going to give me a huge zip file with everything that I have on their server, right? But it's not going to be. It's not necessarily going to be in a format that I can work with on a local thing. Okay. So on top of that, I'm going to hook up Thunderbird via connect to Google and download everything, so I'll have a local copy of that as well, and that will allow me also to connect to another IMAP service and copy it over, for example. And
you know that you can download Pop without deleting it from the server.
I know. I would actually, if I'm using Pop, I would actually delete it from the original server, because that way I know that I'm not downloading something twice. Oh
no, it will not. It will not make you download twice. I mean, I keep mail on this. All the customers keep mail on the server, like for 7 days, for 10 days, for 30 days. It will not download it again.
Right, but I have mail that is 10 years old there, right?
What is?
In the original mailbox. Once I download it, right?
It will delete it after the so many days that you're
No,
telling.
Google. If I say tell it not delete, it won't delete because
Yeah,
it's a
no,
webmail service,
that's a
right?
different story. But if you tell your Thunderbird or whatever to
Oh, for
keep,
Thunderbird, yeah, no. For the local one, I know.
yeah,
But then when I use Pop, I lose the labels, right? I
well,
need to.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I am into a very interesting week dealing with this migration.
Now, this is when you download everything at once. Can you download folders one at a time and then actually name it on your local machine? Even though you lost the label, now you name it that. And
So
then you
there's
go.
another option. I connect via Imap. Don't sync everything. Don't let Thunderbird, for example, sync everything to a local copy. But I do a manual copy, like drag and drop in the mail client to a local copy
To a
of
local
folder.
copy, yeah.
And then I am more in control of the process.
Right. It may be a
I
little
see
slower.
what works best for me.
It may be a little slower, but it seems like you don't have to go through.
It'll be slower. There'll be just more gaps of waiting in between
Yeah.
when it's done, and
Yeah.
I need to review it. But
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
I still have time now that I have the mailbox set up and we've checked
Yeah.
that I can send. I know I still have time. I just need to make sure
Figure
that
it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did anybody out in the audience, did you ever move your email from Gmail to another server? And what was your experience? Would like to know. All right. Let's see what else we have. Unless there's
the best
something
thing I can say about this process.
Yeah.
Right. The best choice I ever made was buying the domain and using that domain as my
Absolutely.
email because yeah, in a couple of weeks, me, my wife, and my son will need to switch to a different client on our Android device and a different client, a webmail client, and maybe they'll start using Thunderbird or something like that. But nobody else in our contacts, right? They will not need, I won't need to update them
Correct.
about it, right? And that's the most important thing.
Yeah, everybody should, if you're serious about email and you don't want to have to bother, get your own domain. In the early days,
don't use Gmail. Don't. It's the $15 a year for a domain is worth it.
and you, if you have been on the internet for years, then people were using their nc.rr.com. Now you want to that they're too expensive. You want to move to AT&T. Now you have to let everybody know that your email changed. And it was like in the early days, there were a whole lot more providers like that. So having your own domain, and it's easy to explain to people. If you have your own domain at, let's say, at your familyname.com, your email will never change. I don't care where you move. It stays the same. It's the only problem is to actually for you to move somewhere else. But your contacts, your family, your friends, they don't even know that it happened.
Yeah, and to be fair, everything I'm going through is only made complicated by me because I'm looking for the cheapest solution possible.
Which you should. Yeah.
No, I mean I can definitely pay, or I can even move probably to free Gmail accounts, separate free Gmail accounts, and deal with that as well.
Mhm.
I just at this point, I just want to take it to my stuff, right? So I could have used my domain and continue using Gmail, just moving to free Gmail accounts. Still need to deal with the value locked into there. There's some accounts with licenses for apps on the App Store and the Play Store, for example, right, and stuff like that I need to figure out what to do with. But I mean, that's it. It's not a big deal, right? I can that one. The mail I can still use on free accounts. I just don't want it hosted outside anymore.
Yeah.
For me.
That is fine. I'm sure sooner or later you'll get it down pat and it will work like a charm, like everything else that you do. All right, let's see. We're talking about Google. So Google is preparing to limit the availability of outdated apps on the Play Store. From November 1st, all existing apps in the store should aim to target an API level within 2 years of the latest major Android OS release. If they don't, Google says it'll place limit on which users are able to discover or install them. The changes are meant to ensure that software available from the Play Store makes use of Android's latest privacy and security features. Device owners expect to realize the full potential of the privacy and security protection Android has to offer. And expanding our target level API requirements will protect users from installing older apps that may not have these protections in place. So if you're using an old app that was never updated, it may disappear, or they may say just such and such. I don't understand that limits on which users are able to discover. I have no idea. I mean, unless they see
probably
that.
depending on the version of Android you're running and
Yeah.
connected to the store. But fret not, there is a solution. First of all, Android, right? Unlike iPhones, unlike iOS, you can install from different sources. So as long as you know what you're doing, right? You can use an alternative source for those apps. In the chat, I put the address for Aurora OSS, AURORAOSS.com. And what Aurora OSS provides, they provide two apps. They provide the Aurora Store and the Aurora Droid. Both of them are app stores. One is a complete replacement for the Google Play Store. That's the Aurora Store. And the other is a complete replacement for the F-Droid App Store. The F-Droid is the prominent open source app store community. And F-Droid is terrific. The Aurora Droid is just an improvement on it. And the reason I'm mentioning these, especially the Aurora Store allows you to connect to the App Store anonymously without creating an account. So you don't need a Play Store account to download. Now, there are a lot of applications on the Play Store that rely on Google services. The Aurora Store helps you also to filter them out. So if you want to run something that isn't connected to any Google service, right? You're paranoid about the tracking they do and all that, and you have an operating system, an Android operating system that that's a fork, like an open source version that that doesn't run any Google services inherently, then the Aurora Store is a great solution for still using the App Store from Google and just choosing how to identify yourself to that API, and you get the option of downloading based on the parameters that you provide and not necessarily the parameters locked into your machine. So one of the things you could change would be, okay, what's my compatibility level, which is a number, and that says basically which Android flavor am I running, how old am I, and you'll get exposed older apps as well. So I understand Google for doing it. I mean, they are trying to make their operation a lot more efficient on their end. Of course, they're coining it as, "Hey, we care about our users," right? And in a way, in a way, they probably do care about the user experience. But I mean, let's be clear. When they are taking away options, it's to make their life easier.
Yeah.
So if as long as they still allow on their main OS, right, on the Android flavors that are going to be forked, they allow unknown sources to be switched on per app. Then there are stuff like Aurora Store that provide a solution. And I would say, yeah, good for them. Go and do that. This is one thing I can't say on an iPhone, right? iPhone, you actually need to jailbreak. You'll need to hack your own phone in order to get access, which is the moment you open root access to a closed ecosystem, you are risking a lot. And the way unknown sources works is not like that. It's different. It's just, hey, we didn't vet this system, but it still works within the parameters allowed for it. So good for Google. I mean, we already know that we don't really like them. So we don't really care whether they're going to make our lives harder or not, as long as we still have an option of using something else. So
now, Gal, how reliable slash safe is Aurora?
Aurora is fantastic. The way they designed it. So first of all, you're not getting anything that you're not getting anything that you wouldn't get if you would use F-Droid or the Play Store. Okay. What you are getting, you're just getting a very streamlined interface to do that. The open source code, the community is very active. You can vet the code on your own. If you're really paranoid, you can compile it on your own, right? There is no trickery in running the software. You install it with unknown sources, and you just give it unknown sources, and you can install through it. It's not as streamlined as using the Play Store because you're installing unknown sources software. So you always get that dialogue where it says, should I install? Should I cancel? Stuff like that. Less automation than what you get from the App Store, but still you can update everything allow it to initiate updates, and you'll just need to press the install on your own. It is a very, very, very beautifully designed software in that term.
Okay. Aurora OSS. All right. This is an interesting take on that. Cryptocurrency has changed the game of cybercrime, argues Vice's Christian Devolu in a new episode of their video series. CryptoLand. I never watched CryptoLand. Did you ever watch it? No. Hackers and cyber gangs have been locking down the data of large corporations, police departments, and even hospitals, and demanding ransom. And guess what they're asking for? Cryptocurrency. In short, argues the article accompanying the episode, cryptocurrency gave birth to the ransomware epidemic. Another interesting observation from the article is when ransom payments do happen, companies like Chainalysis can track the Bitcoin through the blockchain, identifying the hackers' wallets and collaborating with law enforcement in an attempt to recover the funds or identify the hackers themselves. Now, I always thought that with crypto wallets and that kind of money, nobody can find out who it is. But it's obviously
This from day one, I remember people claiming that. Okay, so this is the same claim as I'm hidden behind an IP. Nobody knows who I am.
yeah.
Okay, it's exactly the same. And now today we understand that that IP, eventually there is some sort of contract somewhere that assigns that IP
Right.
to a specific name. The same goes with cryptocurrency. When does it change? Okay, it changes when, if cryptocurrency would have remained in a world of its own. But the moment you associate a wallet with real action in the real world, right? There is a paper trail somewhere that associated that endpoint with someone. So all I'm going to say is, I don't know what he's talking about, but nothing has changed, right? What has changed is this. It's very easy to move funds, right, fast from point to point, but everything is trackable. It's not easily trackable, but it's trackable. One thing to remember about cryptocurrency, right now, any cryptocurrency solution, they are all published ledgers, right? When you hook up to, when you create a what's called a wallet,
Mhm.
the first thing that happens, right, is when you connect as a node to this network, is a copy of the ledger, which is public, completely public. It's public and cryptographically signed, so it cannot be altered either. So everything is public. Every transaction that happened on it is public, and that is what those companies are doing. They just wrote some software that takes a specific address, which is what Bitcoin does anyway, right? Takes a specific address and just tracks where that goes. I think you can do that today on websites. You can just go to a website, put in a transaction ID, and you can see that transaction ID, or a wallet ID, and you can see that wallet and what transaction it does. And then you need to decide, what's the next step that you're going to look at. But every transaction has a wallet address of source, a wallet address of destination, and the amount. Everything is public. That's why I never get why the notion of anonymity comes up when cryptocurrency is discussed. It is not anonymous. It is just, it requires an additional step to connect it to the real world, but it's not anonymous.
Well, I would say
eventually it goes to a Coinbase. It goes to some sort of bank that gives you actual cash for it, right? Or I don't know, you sell it to get some goods. It's
I would say that it's not just another one step. And if you compare it, I think the reason why this was said that it's anonymity is if you compare it to usual way of doing it. You write a check to somebody. When you get it back, you know which bank actually where it was deposited. You know where it went. There is no two ways about it. For anybody to do that now.
Identity check in the process, right? But eventually it goes to someone.
Yeah. But that's the thing with the check, anybody can find out. I mean, you don't have to be techie to find out where it went to. With crypto, you have to be techie in order if you want to follow it yourself.
All that means
That's
to me, no, all that means is this is a young system and we are using it before we understand it. That's all.
well, yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people do. I mean, I couldn't believe it going to the gas station down the street here one time about a year ago and going in to pay for diesel. And you wait in line, and I look on the side, and there's an exchange machine, like a drink machine for crypto. I mean, what in the world?
Yeah, I mean, there's I remember in Chapel Hill, there's a Mediterranean deli,
Yeah.
and there's an ATM there, and I stepped in to take out some cash. I think the store itself works in cash only or something like that,
Uh-huh.
and so I used the ATM to take out some cash, and one of the options is sending via cryptocurrency, right? Like, so you send cryptocurrency to the machine, and the machine will give you cash in exchange.
Yeah. I read somewhere also that Wikipedia is no longer going to accept donation in cryptocurrency. They did, but now they say they're not going to do it anymore.
The reason behind that is not that it's not lucrative, is
It's the controversy.
right, but the main controversy where it stems around the amount of energy consumed, right, per
Yeah.
the value that it brings.
Yeah.
And right now, it is not sustainable. And so the main controversy right now is an ecological one.
Mhm.
This is not the solution going forward because it is burning us up instead of helping us. And all for what? All just for money. Literally just money, like no other value other than money. So something needs to change. What was it, last week or 2 weeks before that we discussed a chip from Intel that will do cryptocurrency more efficiently, right? That's what we're seeing right now.
The GPU.
I think I read somewhere that there's a cryptocurrency protocol somebody came up with that has zero emissions associated with it. So there's like different. We're not stable yet. Still in the exploration.
It's work in progress.
But it's definitely here to stay. I don't think it's going.
No, it's not going away unless something really bad happens. It's here to
if
stay.
something really bad happens, it's going to stay here, and real money will go away. So right. So I can think of anything that a true legacy of what happens between the war between Russia and Ukraine, for example, right? It might be that black markets will be completely cryptocurrency and never even use the dollar. Right? Think about it.
Yeah.
Right? Then you do transactions a lot faster in the background without needing, and they have real value because you can buy food with cryptocurrency without converting. Something like that. Who knows?
Yeah, it's possible. Absolutely. Okay, so last week we talked about Elon Musk and Twitter. So this week there are some developments in there. Twitter's board enacted a defensive measure meant to deter Elon Musk's $43 billion hostile takeover. He was going to buy Twitter. The poison pill, as it's called in corporate terms, gives Twitter existing shareholders time to purchase additional shares at a discount, thus diluting Musk's ownership stake. Musk disclosed a 9.2% stake in Twitter earlier this month. He then announced he was joining to the company's board of directors and began proposing several changes to the platform, including turning the company's headquarters into a homeless shelter. He later backed out of joining the board and offered to purchase the company for $54.20 a share, though he did specify how he planned to pay for it. Twitter said in a statement that its board of directors has unanimously adopted a limited duration shareholder rights plan. So they're trying to make it so it's not going to be worth as much. But it's interesting. So he's no longer on the board of directors, and he's trying to buy the company. I read another story somewhere that there's another holding company that told Twitter that whatever he will pay, they'll pay more if they're going to sell it. It's
Yeah, they're okay with being owned by somebody else.
well, I guess it's all the money.
I mean, the most interesting part of all of this is here is big corporations,
Mhm.
right? Fighting with money. I mean, this is a bit like Russia, Ukraine, right? Right. Instead of it is persons with a lot of money and corporations. And I mean, kudos for Twitter. They're not bending over just because there's a lot of money involved. I don't know if it's a good thing. I don't really care. I don't know. I'm not really involved in the Twitter sphere. I know it's important for a lot of people. I just think that these platforms, the only thing I care about is educating people and explaining that these platforms has nothing to do with free speech and will never be free speech because it's private property and it will
Yep.
always be private property. So nothing is going to change. It's just going to change who likes your speech more, right?
Yeah. We'll keep up with it and report. Here's something else interesting. 92% of executives at medium to large firms think workers who turn cameras off during meetings don't have long-term future at the company. This is according to a new survey from Viopta, a software company. The data adds that the word hybrid to remote employees have expressed about the post-pandemic world that those who choose to work from home some, most, or all the time will be out of sight, out of mind for bosses. In a separate finding from them, 93% of executives said the people who frequently turn off their cameras probably aren't paying attention. Those employees are perceived as less engaged with their work overall. The majority of companies around the world are moving to a hybrid working model, which means more video meetings in the future. But the casual, camera off and microphone muted way of taking a meeting might be harming employees' career prospects.
I call bullshit.
Really?
Show me the data.
I don't know. This is
data. They're quoting maybe surveys. They're not quoting data.
oh well. They're saying that the data of the survey.
Yeah. Show me the data.
It's Vyopta, Vyopta. It's just interesting.
I mean, they are playing to the tunes of the way it feels. The whole article is they're playing to the tunes of policymakers, of higher management,
Mhm.
right? Where they wanna, but nothing is. It's like, where's the data? Show the data. Don't talk about the analysis of the data the way you see it, because I'm guessing you are skewing it somewhere.
Of course, everybody does
Data is
when they
never
do things.
one-sided. I've never seen data analysis being one-sided. And they're talking about, right? It's like da 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 da. These are they're not what was the wording is like not paying attention.
Yeah.
Come on, right? Talk about who in the data is paying attention, who isn't, right? Show the disparity. Everything about this article just stinks. I can tell you that a lot of people that I work with in the technical side, right? I'm not on sales meeting. I don't sell myself. I don't switch on my video when I'm with a customer because one, the customer doesn't need to see me. Never saw me until today, right? There's no need for him to see me. There's no need for me to expose. Anyway, most of the time we're going to work on a shared screen where my image is going to be this small, right? Like a coin. So why waste the bandwidth? Why waste? We're working. And so, and if it's a meeting where there's a discussion going on, then yeah, I'm not paying attention when it's not my department that's being discussed, because otherwise it's a waste of time, right? But it's not about not being effective. Hell, we are being more effective. So all of that isn't being compiled into this article. None of it is mentioned, and that's why I call it bullshit. It's so
yeah. It also depends. It also depends how they ask the question, and we don't have that. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is something everybody should be aware of and watch out for. A new social engineering scam is making the round, and this one is particularly insidious. It tricks users into sending money to what they think is their own account to reverse a fraudulent charge. Now, yeah, I mean, it takes a special person to fall for it.
No.
And they explain it. They explain it. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center issued the warning, which it said involves cyber criminals who have definitely done their homework. In addition to knowing the victim's financial institution, the actors often had further information such as the victim's past addresses, social security number, and the last 4 digits of their bank accounts. The IC3 said. The con starts off as many that target individuals do nowadays with a text message. In this case, it's not a phishing attempt. It's an attempt to ascertain whether the person receiving the message is susceptible to further manipulation. Posing as the target's bank, the message asks whether a large charge, $5,000 in the example of the FBI, was legitimate and ask for a reply of yes or no. Replying no leads to the follow-up text. Our fraud specialist will be contacting you shortly. Now, I've never received text from my bank unless it was like a 2-factor. I don't think they send you text to ask you this. So that's what I'm saying. It takes a special person, somebody who is vulnerable to scams anyway. But yeah, they're doing it in a interesting way. So they said, this is where social engineering comes in, and the FBI is painting a picture of a sophisticated operation. The fraud specialists contacting user reportedly speak English with a discernible accent. And once they establish credibility with the victim, they move on to helping them reverse the fake transaction. It gets even more insidious here. The charges that are being refuted aren't bank charges directly. They are payments being made through an instant payment app like Venmo or Cash App. The fraudster never asks for a password or any information that might clue someone that they are being strung along. Instead, the caller asks the victim to use their bank website or app to remove their email address from the digital payment app, thereby unlinking the app and bank account, which the fraudster then asks for. Next, the victim is asked to send the same amount as the fake payment to themselves using their own email address, which has already been added to an account the criminal controls. So it's sophisticated, but they accomplish the same thing with less sophisticated situation. The thing to remember is your financial organizations will never, credit card, banks, hospital, they will never send you a text message asking you something like that. I mean, when
but you might get a text message saying something's fishy, call us and put the number there. Right?
and
always call the number on the back of your credit card.
Absolutely.
Call the number on the bank's website, or if you have it written, what you've written before. Don't trust anything you see in the text.
Do not. That is where you fall for all kind of trouble.
Don't trust any phone number in your emails. Don't trust any link in your emails.
Right.
Don't trust the phone number in your text. Don't trust any link in your text. That does not require any action to be sent to you, and it makes you vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Is it inconvenient? Yes. That's part of why they get us.
Yeah. I mean, it's in this case here, if let's say that I wanted to, that I didn't know this, and they're telling me that there's $5,000. What I would do if I do online banking, I go to my account and check, is there such a thing? And if it doesn't, I just report it to the bank. You have ways to double check if what they're telling you is true or not. I know it's different in every case, but you can battle it. Don't just take the easy way out and let them help you. It's just like those guys from Microsoft that call you to tell you that you have a virus. I mean.
And that scam is very, very effective for non-tech people.
Right. But even non-tech people should know this, that they will not get a text. It's not like call that number. What is the number? I mean, if you're doing online banking or any kind of banking, you should connect to your bank your way. If there is a email from the bank that says you need to get on the website and here is the link, you don't do this. You go to your list or to your bookmark or whatever bookmarks, and you see the bank and you go this way. I always wondered in the beginning why my bank, when they send me the email at the end of the month that the statement is ready, tell me to go to the bank They don't give me a link to click on.
That's training.
Yeah,
they're
it's
training
fine.
you to be more to know what to expect from the bank. So next time somebody asks the link, you
Right.
should be suspicious of it.
Yeah. And you should be always err on the side of safety. I mean, if you're not sure, then hey, no, something here is wrong.
I'm guessing it was the same here in the States, but back in the 90s, right, when ISPs started sprunging up like mushrooms after the rain,
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of account stealing. And one of the ways was, you call someone and you tell them you're from their ISP and you ask them to, validate their password over the phone, right? And
Mhm.
then what happened was, after a few months of this happening, right, is the ISP, when you would call for technical support, you would hear that broken record that says, "We will never ask you for your password over the phone," right?
Right.
Because you need to train your users to understand that this is never going to happen. Nobody's going to ask you unless it's something that you've explicitly set up with the company you're doing business. Like, there's a PIN code that I'm going to provide over the phone, right? When I am identifying myself, it will be associated with a lot of other identifying traits that nobody else should have. That is one thing, right? Compared to, and only valid if you made the call, not if somebody called you. And even if the bank calls you because there's something suspicious and asks you to identify yourself, and you say, "Listen, I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna hang up right now, and I'm gonna call the bank with the number I have. Don't ask them for the number," right? And you make sure that you are reaching out to the correct party.
Correct.
That is the same with email. That is the same with websites. You always control the narrative. Never let the other side control the narrative for you. So
Yeah,
that's
and another problem that a lot of people have is, and that's because of search engines. Many times I would tell people, okay, now go to Microsoft.com on the phone. So, okay, so which one should I choose? I said, what do you mean, which one should you choose? I said, well, I have a lot of Microsoft listings. It's because people got used to type it in the search and not in the address bar. And I had a friend of mine that actually wanted to go to Walmart to buy something online. They typed Walmart.com. It came up with a list. The first one was Walmart. They clicked on it. It was a fraud. He went and he added things to the shopping cart, and I mean, spent a couple of hours adding stuff. Something happened at the end. I don't remember if he got disconnected or something like that. He called me and he said, I spent just hours now building the shopping cart, buying what I needed, and I can't buy it. I said, where did you go? So go back to Walmart. I said, just type walmart.com. I mean, right away, I thought something was, first of all, I thought it was right. But then when I told him, type walmart.com, he said, okay, yeah, and the first one is the one I went to. I said, what do you mean the first one was the one you went to? He said, there's a few Walmarts. And I said, okay, put the cursor on the first one, the one you went to. Don't click, just put it on top and tell me, what does it say on the bottom of your browser? Where is it going to? And it was somewhere in Poland. I said, look at this. You need to go to walmart.com and you put that in the uppermost field that you have in your browser, which is the address bar. I mean, on a computer, in a phone, sometimes it's at the bottom, but it's not a search engine that you're typing. Now you can type a search word in that field and it will search, but only if you type Walmart. If you type walmart.com, it will go to Walmart's website. And even there, you have to be careful that you don't put Walmart with double L or something like that, that actually will take you somewhere completely different. But you just need to be aware of these things. People fall for it all the time. Yeah. All
I
right.
wonder,
What?
didn't Walmart buy by this time the double L domain?
I don't know. I'm just
If they
saying it on
didn't,
top of my head. I mean, there was all kind.
when I'm thinking it, if they didn't, it is negligence on their
It
behalf.
is absolutely. They should do, and there was a long time ago. There were some companies that actually bought all kind of variation of their name because they wanted to make sure that, I mean,
Yeah.
people don't make.
I remember, what was it? Whitehouse.com?
I don't remember.
Whitehouse.com was going to a porn site.
Oh,
You don't remember that?
no.
It still does. 18 and over. No, it's no longer.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, you want to play on the internet, you want to use the internet, then you have to know the rules. If you're going to make a deposit of your check to the bank, you put it on a slip and you drive to the bank. You don't call somebody to come and take you, and they may take you to some hole in the wall and say, here's the bank, and you put it there. You go there because you know where it's at. It's sort of like the same thing. You need to develop this on the internet to be on the safe side and to behave the way that keep you safe.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Enough of that. You're a big user of Reddit.
A big.
Well, I mean, you use it.
I follow some Reddit stuff. Yeah.
So Thursday, Reddit updated its search features to index comments. That's from The Verge. It says, for the first time, users will have an option to pull results from replies to posts, making it less of a hassle to find something specific outside of general Reddit posts, communities, and people. The rollout is Reddit's latest change to help users encounter content from outside their usual subreddits following the addition of the Discovery tab on its mobile app in January. So now you can search what you're looking for and it'll find it. I didn't know that you couldn't. I mean,
Well, I mean, you can always use Google with the word Reddit, right? And it usually finds those pages anyway. But now you can probably do it from within, which is nice. I can tell you that there are certain things that I've searched for in Reddit that, yeah, it's a hassle if it's only in the comments. So
okay. So it is
interesting. Yeah.
Oh. And we were talking about Android and iPhones. Last Monday, Google quietly launched the Switch to Android app on the App Store in a number of global markets, including the US. As expected, the app promises to make the transition between mobile platforms easier to manage by helping users import their contacts, calendar, photos, and videos to their new Android phone. The app
Right.
also instructs user how to turn off Apple's iMessage in order to get text messages on their new device and has them connect with iCloud to migrate their photo and video library to Android. So now you can do it with an app. If you were
I mean, that's fantastic. If
that,
it was 10 years ago, but and good for them. I wonder how long it'll stay on the App Store. Apple are
I was,
notorious for
yeah,
kicking
well,
stuff like this out, right? So
it's just interesting that they even went there.
yeah, I do remember uh, some article you were reading that iMessage might be available on Android,
On
like
yeah,
the future, right?
right.
I mean, I I am literally waiting for that because even though I don't like Apple, right? It's there is an ecosystem of users that won't leave Apple because of iMessage, and there's going to be an option to communicate with them, which is it is nice. I mean, it is going to increase Apple's grip on the data of Android users,
Uh-huh.
right? So there's always that, but it's also going. I think it's going to expand the Android user space. One thing I can tell you on Android, by the way, um, I am usually I don't think I've ever complained about an OS upgrade uh, on any platform, but I am really annoyed by the latest upgrade on my phone, which is a OnePlus. Uh, Currently running the latest update, which put it on Android version 12. And I gotta say, the move from 11 to 12, I don't like it. It it basically took away control from the user on a lot of things. I mean, force force stopping an application now is a chore. It's not something that was easily accessible as in previous versions and stuff like that. Permission changes, etc. Um, I I don't I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I'm not talking about instabilities or anything like that. That happens with any upgrade. I'm talking about like a shift in paradigm in the way the OS behaves and allows the user to control it. And it's like they have made a huge step towards the Apple ecosystem, which I don't like.
Well,
So beware if you're about to upgrade between 11 and 12. Think again. Wait. I don't recommend the 12 right now. If you're very comfortable with the 11. If you're not techie, you've never done anything on the OS level specifically, yeah, go ahead. Probably doesn't matter. But if you have force closed an app in the past, know that doing that isn't going to be easy on the 12. So wait.
interesting. Hmm.
I told my family to wait. And usually I don't like waiting on updates like this because they also have security updates rolled in and stuff like that.
Right, it's everything all together.
It's
I'm
wait
wondering.
now.
Oh, that's only for the OnePlus or for Android period?
Well, I think any move from Android 11 to 12 will be the same. But OnePlus provided that upgrade uh, 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah,
So,
I'm on version 11 here on my phone. Maybe version 12 will fix the microphone.
I Uh, I think your problem is a hardware one, but I don't
Hardware,
know.
yeah.
I told you
All right.
don't go swimming with it. Come on.
DuckDuckGo's privacy focused browsing app is available in beta on Mac, but you'll have to join a private waitlist to gain access. Just like the mobile browsing app DuckDuckGo on Mac uses the DuckDuckGo search engine by default, automatically blocks web trackers, and comes with the famous fire button that burns up your browsing history and tabs in a single click. The browsing app also comes with a new feature that's supposed to help block those pesky cookie consent pop ups that appear when you first open a website. DuckDuckGo says it will clear them on 50% of sites while automatically selecting the option that blocks or minimizes the cookies that track you. Allison Goodman, the senior communication manager at DuckDuckGo, told The Verge that the company plans on increasing this coverage significantly as the beta progresses. You'll also gain access to a privacy feed that appears on DuckDuckGo's homepage. So if you that can only be a good thing for iPhones. I mean, I don't know how Safari is as
It
far as
says Apple. It
yeah.
says it's. So I think they're meaning the computers, not
Oh,
the.
it's on the Mac. You're right. Yeah, that's right. It's on the Mac. See, the Apple is Apple. No, it's not.
I think it already exists on the iPhone. No,
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Huh. All right, here's something for you, Gal, since you love Sonos speakers.
Well, I love hating them. I love buying them and hating them. How much they expensive they are.
So Sonos has acquired Dutch startup Mate, Mayht, for approximately 100 million in a cash-only deal. Mate, I hope I'm saying it right, created a new type of speaker technology that makes it possible to pack a lot more oomph into much smaller spaces, with power saving as a nifty side effect. This is coming from TechCrunch. Specifically, it created a new type of transducer, the foundational element within speakers that creates sound. They have re engineered them to enable smaller and lighter form factor without compromising on quality. So they spend 100 million. I wonder how much the speakers are going to go up. They have to recover that expense, right?
Well, I mean, it sounds like an R&D purchase, right? So they're buying this technology.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see it rolled into a product line sometime in the future. The real question is how soon. I mean, with hardware branding, I don't know anything about this other
Company,
company. So
they're a Dutch startup.
yeah, Mayht.
Yeah.
See if they're in the news anywhere other than the purchase.
So
The
it's smaller and better sound is always better.
Yeah,
But yeah,
there. I
you
mean,
have
there are. They do have a website, this company. Don't know if it's them though.
Well,
Yeah, it is them.
is it in Dutch? Then it's them.
No, it's actually in English.
Oh, well, it's
Well, you know, this, I mean, this can also be buy them and bury
destroy them.
them.
Yeah, bury them. But 100
Because it
million.
looks like,
Sheesh.
yeah,
And
I
that's
mean,
cash only. That's not changing, exchanging stock or anything. That's cash.
first self-balancing driver. Interesting.
No, I guess we'll have to wait and see, like you said. And
They
if
have
you,
a very nice website, I can tell you. Other than that, I have zero idea
all right,
of how good it is.
if you find out something, let us know next week. And if you're waiting on Windows 11 side taskbar support before upgrading to the latest operating system,
Oh,
you
I
may
have.
be waiting for a long time. According to
I told you I solved it.
you what?
I'm using a Windows 11 with with a sidebar, but it's ugly.
Oh,
Not completely native. Semi-native. Go ahead and I'll explain.
So, as first reported by NeoWin in a recent Microsoft Ask Me Anything session, a user asked whether Microsoft would be bringing back the ability to move the sidebar to the sides. The response was not very promising, with Tali Roth, Microsoft head of product, explaining that a small amount of Windows users use the feature and that it is unsure whether the feature will ever be brought back.
A small amount, like a couple of million,
Couple
maybe.
of million. Yeah.
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 So it is. I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
After doing it myself, the hacky way of allowing it to move to the side, some of the software pieces are still there, probably because they've been inherited from previous version of the code, right?
Okay.
So by tweaking some registry values, you can get the taskbar to the side, and it actually looks pretty well. It's not that it looks, but
It's just
the
not
moment
as slick as you remember it when Windows 10.
no. So you lose a couple of things. One of the things you lose is the start menu. If you move that, the start menu still comes up wherever disassociated from the taskbar.
Oh.
So it's a problem, right? And so my solution was to disable the new start menu and use classic shell, which works. Not as beautiful, but it works. So I get a Windows XP like shell start menu, right? I mean, let's be honest. How much am I using the start?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. The other aspects that are tied to it are some not just eye candy, some functionality that is also lost. For example, if any of our listeners is using Windows 10 20H4, I think maybe 21H4 going forward, using the Windows button and the dot, the period, right? That will bring up the emoji keyboard, and you can add emojis while you're typing. If I disable the new start interface, I don't get that. I also can't use if you use the Windows key and the V, similar to Control V, which is paste. If you use the Windows key and V, you can switch on the Clipboard Manager. So I lost the Clipboard Manager as well. Both of those things for me, right? I have alternatives that I use and I'm comfortable with them. So not a big deal for me. So I'm using Windows 11. I'm using the taskbar on the side, and and I made my OS a bit uglier, but I'm using the newest one. So for me, it's okay. To claim that just a small amount of, I mean, it's true that a small percentage of users are using that. But then again, Windows has probably what, 10,000 separate features? I doubt that the features that they've developed are for 100% of the users, 80% of the users, right? So it's it's just, it's not going to make them any money. The users who really want the taskbar on the side, they're just not enough to say no for now. And I'm guessing there nobody in the UI development team is passionate about it over there to make the change. So it's going to take time until we'll see hacky solutions. And I think if I'm thinking of a way of forcing Microsoft to actually do that, is if there's a hacker out there that writes some malicious code for people that want to do this, and it's going to target them, and this is going to make the news rounds, then they'll make it. So yeah, it's like I don't see any other. It's like it's just they're going the. I think I said it before. They're going the Apple way. Is we know best. The users are stupid. What we do is the right way, and yeah. Luckily, with Windows and Microsoft, is the user base is so large that there are those who are developing alternatives, and they might be hacky, but they work. Not as clear cut as Linux, for example, but it's fine.
John in the chat is saying, I received this text. Is anyone familiar with it? It says, Verizon message, you are enrolled in a premium service that includes digital secure. A critical update is now available in the app to ensure you're getting the full benefit. Visit digitalsecure.verizon.com/update, then open the app and follow the prompts to activate. And Alan was saying, it looks legit, and it does look legit because it's Verizon. But he said he was going to call Verizon and ask them. But when I asked him if it was a link in there, he said yes. If it's a link in there, what's written in the message is meaningless. Yeah, I mean, it may be correct. And I don't know that on the phone, it works the same way that you can just hover over it and it'll show you. I don't
No,
think.
the link in, so the way they put in a URL,
Yeah.
right? But the messaging app takes that URL and just makes it a link so you can click on it. If the link in a text message you can't do HTML in text
okay. So never
if
mind.
the link,
All right.
the text message goes to Verizon.com,
Yeah.
and it goes to that. But instead of clicking on that, just search for Verizon Digital Secure in your search engine and see what's that about. I mean, I am actually, it's not a big deal, but then again, you're probably not going to get any specific action from that link anyway. So just open a browser on your PC. It'll be easier to read anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. You can call them and ask them if that's what you want to do. But the fact that it says .verizon.com, I mean, unless somebody broke into their DNS and set up another host like that, fraudulent, which is not likely, then you should be safe.
and notice that the message itself, right, says a critical update is now available in the app to ensure you're getting the full benefits. It sounds like there's some sort of Verizon app to manage your account or whatever. And yeah, that's fine. It sounds like a sort of antivirus for a
Yeah.
mobile phone, branded Verizon from the web page. If you're asking because we said don't click on stuff that you come in, that's still true. Don't click on it. If you're concerned that it might be relevant, yeah, go search for it and see if there's anything.
Yep.
By the way, I can tell you that page is horrible when it comes to tracking cookies. I'm on that page for probably 20 seconds, and my ad blocker had already blocked 381 calls. Yeah, it's like Verizon. They don't know web, so it's no surprise that they send a link in a text message. That's just incompetence, not nothing to do. Don't click it because it won't help you in any way. So,
all right. Listen to this now. It would seem that a majority of managers have decided to launch a campaign of threats to force people back into the office. About 77% of managers said they'd be willing to implement severe consequences, including firing workers or cutting pay and benefits on those who refuse to return to the office. This is again according to a recent survey by employment background check company Good Hire. They asked 3,500 American managers. Every company is going to be different. I don't understand what's the big deal if the employees are doing good work from home and are productive and finish the task that they are being given and everything,
Amnon, haven't you ever met a vindictive manager?
I never had a manager.
And come on, you had a commander in the
Yeah,
military.
yeah.
And maybe your commander was okay, but haven't you seen your
I've
friends?
seen I've
Your
seen a
commander is
few. I've seen
asshole?
Yeah, I've seen a few that were
The real question is when it's going to be company policy. And if it is, that company, I think it's going to get it's gonna degrade in the workforce that is going to work for it. So, I mean, we live in an era, especially here in the US, especially here in RTP, right? In the RTP region, in the triangle region is, yeah, so one company will fire you, then you'll find another.
yeah.
Um, I understand it's not for all. I mean, let's be clear. We're not talking of any minimum wage workers because those don't really have the option of working from home. So these are skilled workers, skilled knowledge workers in a way, right? All about data and knowledge, if you can work remotely. And if one company is going to fire them, then another will pick them up.
Mm-hmm. And real quick.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
is an employee
So
market. It's an employee market.
right now, it feels that way anyway.
Yeah.
I hope I'm true. I mean, I don't have any data. I haven't looked at any data, but it sounds when I'm listening at it and I'm putting myself into the story, yeah, I get it. There are going to be companies that are going to lose on this. There are going to be companies that are going to benefit on this. Those companies who cannot see the bigger picture, they're going to suffer.
Yeah. And you were telling me Remind me that I did have a manager in the military, and my daughter started making all kind of things. I don't know why she decided to start doing it now when she's just about to defend her thesis for her master's. This takes time, but she made me a cup. It's more like a like a thermos thing. Uh, she came and asked me and got the information and created, and this is all from scratch. I mean, this is nice. I don't know what it's going to take. She's thinking about starting to sell them. She's getting a little bit entrepreneurial, even though she's into academics. It's we'll wait and
Something in the
see.
blood.
Maybe I hope so. We talked about DuckDuckGo, so there's another story about DuckDuckGo. It has completely removed the search results for many popular pirate sites, including the Pirate Bay, 1337X, and F movies. Several YouTube ripping services have disappeared too, and even the homepage of the open source software YouTube-MP3 is unfindable. The lack of results is not tied to a specific country, and manually fiddling with the region settings didn't change anything either. Apparently, DuckDuckGo has simply removed all the Pirate Bay.org URLs from its index. This whole site,
Actually, that's good.
it says this whole site removal isn't limited to the Pirate Bay either. When similar searches for 1337 to NYAA.SE, F movies, Look movie, and all of these, no results appear. And you're saying that that's good. I mean, yeah, other than curbing.
No, and I'm saying those specific sites,
Yeah,
while yes, they are used a lot for piracy and stuff,
right.
are also riddled with because they are so popular,
Yep.
right? They are also the main vector of attack for those who are looking for piracy stuff,
Mhm.
pirated stuff, and are fed with malicious content.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you'll go on some conspiracy areas of the net, they would say that that malicious content is coming from the MPAA, and you're looking for, I don't know, Spider-Man, then Warner Brothers, not Warner Brothers, Disney, they are feeding you with malicious content that will harm you, the computer you're downloading it on. But it's just a lot of naive people, right, are looking for not so naive content, and they can get hurt this way, and ransomware stuff like that can get very easily through that. So you need to be very careful, right? These are the dark back alleys of the internet. So the problem is with sites like the Pirate Bay, they're no longer an alley. They're basically the
Corridor.
well, not even a corridor. They're like a huge marketplace, right?
Yeah.
They're the town square.
Yeah.
But everybody there you can't trust. So, so yeah, I mean, I don't see it as censorship. I mean, I'm sure those who really like the Pirate Bay, they feel that way. But it sounds like DuckDuckGo being responsible.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
For now.
Well, they're
Let's see what
trying to
happens.
anyway.
They
Yeah.
block CNN and Fox News.
Researchers at 2 U.S. universities have found that muting popular native video conferencing apps fail to disable device microphone, and that these apps have the ability to access audio data when muted, or actually do so. The
That's what they discovered.
Well, yeah. The research is described in a paper titled "Are You Really Muted?" A privacy analysis of mute buttons in video conferencing app. That's coming from the Register. Among the app studies were Zoom, Enterprise, Slack, Microsoft Teams, Skype, Cisco WebEx, Google Meet, BlueJeans, Whereby, GoToMeeting, Jitsi, Meet, and Discord. You're saying?
Yes. Let me guess. One app there.
Yeah.
Actually muting.
I don't. Let's see. Most presented only limited or theoretical privacy concerns. The researchers found that all of these apps had the ability to capture audio when the mic is muted, but most did not take advantage of this capability. One, however, was found to be taking measurements from audio signals even when the mic was supposedly off. We discovered that all the apps in our study could actively query, i.e., retrieve raw audio, the microphone when the user is muted. Interestingly, in both Windows and Mac OS, we found that Cisco WebEx queries the microphone regardless of the status of the mute button.
So does Zoom.
Yeah.
So does Teams.
They
and I
found
can explain why they do it.
I
That's
don't know.
why. That's why I'm annoyed.
They found that WebEx every minute or so sends network packets containing audio-derived telemetry data to its servers, even when the microphone was muted. After the researchers reached out about their finding, Cisco altered WebEx so it no longer transmits microphone telemetry data. Cisco is aware of this report and thanks the researchers for notifying us about their research. That's just somehow it was a typo, and every few seconds it was come
It's
on.
not a typo. It's just it doesn't matter. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So first of all, no application will forcibly disable the hardware, and the main reason, especially on I don't know if I'm guessing they weren't talking about mobile only, and they're talking about computers. And so on a computer, especially, you're going to run multiple applications. Some of them might still need the microphone while you have that, right? So disabling the hardware is not an option. By the way, Zoom has a feature. If I mute my Zoom session and I speak into the microphone, it'll prompt me and say, "Hey, you are muted, right? Did you want to unmute?"
Which means that it heard you.
It's a feature.
Yeah, but
it's listening, right?
It is.
And it's a great feature. It's a fantastic feature, and keep it. Whether it's and notice of how they worded what was happening on WebEx. Audio recorded derived metadata. It's not your audio recording. WebEx has zero use of your audio recording. Are they able to? Hell yeah. That's part of the whole, that's why you gave it permission. Like acting surprised, you don't trust WebEx, run your own service. But all of this is noise that is useless. It means nothing. That's what's so annoying about these articles.
No, but it does accomplish one thing. If you're in a conference, you are an employee or whatever, be aware that if you mute it and it said, The hell with you. You don't know what you're talking about, to the microphone, but you don't want to say it to the person's face. There's a chance that that word will get to them that you said that.
Nothing in that article states that. The only party that this will get to, right, is the statistical analysis of the logs that are going to WebEx. WebEx as a company, they'll see this metadata. They'll see metadata. Again, nobody wants to waste.
That's what you think.
No, I'm sure nobody wants to waste money on bandwidth. Bandwidth is expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
Not get that to their heads.
Yeah.
But your data isn't worth that much. Bandwidth is more expensive than the data you are creating.
Sure.
Metadata about what you are is very cheap. So yes, there's going to be a lot of metadata. But bandwidth is expensive. CPU is expensive, right? It's not that easy to track you. It's not that lucrative to track you. That's the thing that we need to remember.
Well,
I'm paranoid about what's being tracked about me, but I am also realistic of what's the use of that data.
For who can benefit from it?
Yeah, what type of effort is required to make use of that data?
Yeah.
Right? So
all right. It's about that time again.
We got to 11, huh?
Anything you want to add? Or anything? How are you doing with your system?
Got most of the stuff on.
Nice.
I really like the TrueNAS ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. It's not as flexible as doing everything on my own, right? Using the packages that they provide and all that, but it's very, very good, and I like the switch. And until the next instability where I'll need to deal with some sort of restore or something like that, I won't know if I made the right choice. But I think I have, and so
good.
I like it. Yeah,
that's what's important. Yep. All right, Gal. Well, again, thank you. Have a happy Passover again.
Thank you.
And everybody, happy Easter. People were asking, where's everybody? Yeah, it's Easter. Not everybody's here. So go back to the family or go back to work on what you were working on. Sorry to have disturbed you this morning. Is Mati there? Huh?
He's in our room.
Oh,
the bedroom.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks again, Gal. And I hope that Nick is having fun where he is in Charlotte. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dana, Dina, Arlette and Micha, Eleanor, Sarid. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember, practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. You can listen to him on your Echo device. Just say, play 980 The Wave. Or you can go to nickcraig.com and listen to recordings of previous shows too. And on Tuesdays, 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast for survival games on Twitch. So 7 p.m. Tuesday evening, twitch.tv Infection Podcast. We'll see you next week. Have a safe one.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.